Hello. So I have come to show you some art journals that I have created for my Etsy store, and there's just a couple of things I need to point out. The first thing is my dad, bless him, has swapped cameras with me. So this is still a camera. It's an SLR, but it records, and it's like about 50 models up from the one I was using, but this is a bit of a test. I've already recorded once and it was so out of focus, so this is my second attempt and I hope it works. Second of all, I've actually swapped position, so I mean I wouldn't normally be able to record at this time of day, but because my other half and I have swapped our desk positions over, because we've swapped them like that with our hands. I'm hoping it's now light enough for me to record at this time of day, but I still have to have lights on, so I apologise if there is any shadow. So these art journals, I had to create one for myself, so I've kind of created a few more, and I wish I'd have made mine like these, because these are much nicer than mine. Because they are art journals, I've put inspirational kind of stuff and ephemera in a pouch. It's not in the journal, because I know, you know, I start with a blank journal and then I fill it up. I don't have stuff in my art journal. Having said that, these journals, they're not there's no tea stain paper, but they are suitable for writing in, and they are a kind of junk journal style. So I've got two small ones and two large ones. I'm going to start with the first one I made, because that kind of makes sense, and it's slightly different to the other three. So this is the first journal I made. This is the pouch with the bits in, which I will show you afterwards. It's a canvas cover, and again, it's not tea stained. Yes, it is. It's tea stained. It's not inked. The beads, I've tried to keep them reasonably flat or small, so when you open it, they're not going to interfere with your journaling. But obviously this can be cut off if you don't like it on there. Each one has a kind of, it's pinned on, so again this can be removed because you might want to paint the cover, for example. There is a little, it's a piece of fabric with a button sewn on with some dangly kind of more buttons and beads. It's a seam binding closure. So I'm going to show you this one first, because this one's got the smaller flap, and what I did was I cut it at an angle and then I flipped one over, so you've got little bits kind of, it looks a bit more, you can, I don't know what you call it, shabby is the kind of look I was going for. Stitching all the way around the outside. The papers I have in here, there is 240 GSM textured watercolor paper, sketch paper, cartridge paper, a really nice, I really love this paper, it's a recycled paper, tracing paper, music paper, and inspirational kind of botanical book pages that obviously, oh sorry, I've got stuff up my fingers, you know, inspirational kind of images that you can either gesso over and use as artwork, or this front piece is 300 GSM cardstock. I didn't really need it to make the cover secure, but I've popped it in there anyway, because you could decorate, you know, art journal in it. This is the watercolor paper. I'm going to hold it up, I'm not sure if you're going to see. But it's obviously fairly smooth one side and quite textured the other, and you can use it for, I think you can calligraphy on this if you wanted to. You can certainly handwrite on it. This is that recycled paper. It's kind of a creamy grey colour, but it's really smooth. I really like it. Vintage book pages, cartridge paper, tracing paper, book page, and again, like I said, you can gesso over it. You can create artwork on it if you wanted to, or you could use it as an inspiration to kind of create something the other side. So I made this how I like mine. Obviously, like I said, no tea staining, no inking, which would be great if you like journaling without, gorgeous book page. If you like kind of journaling without tea stain paper, you could absolutely do that in here. There's quite a lot of pages in it. Again, you could gesso that, collage over it, anything you wanted, and use, that's the centre of the signature. So this is the recycled, this is the cartridge. I'm only going to show one of the small ones and one of the large ones because the pages are, you know, obviously the pictures might change slightly, but they are very floral. I've picked lots of florals for this one. Well, for all of them, actually. Nice bird, vintage bird, and that's from the same book that Wendy from Journal Adventures has recently used. So that's this one. I'm just going to show you the pouch. So in the pouch, I've tried to use, obviously you could, you know, I've designed this so you can actually tear this up and use this in your journal as well. It's a gorgeous vintage wallpaper. It's got kind of a satin effect to it. I'm just going to turn this upside down so I can show you what there is. There is a vintage postcard in each. I think they're Mediterranean, all of them, although I don't know, I'm not 100% sure. I know two of the others at least are, but there are 2 vintage postcards. I'm going to show you that one in a moment. There are vintage book pages that can either be used as inspiration or you could use them within your journaling. There is poetry, there are pages with numbers on, and there is a vintage book page. Again, you could use the words as inspiration or you could use it in a collage. There is a cartridge paper envelope, which, you know, it's designed so you can create art using it or on it. And inside there are quite a few, inspiration kind of prompts. Not inspiration, but they're maybe, you know, words that you could use as inspiration to create a piece of artwork. There is a small folder which again you can create artwork onto it. There is a piece of tea stain calico that you can stamp onto or use in your work. And there are 2 vintage playing cards. Again, these are the kind of things that I use. So they're the kind of things that I've put in this kind of journal. Excuse the fly. Oh, it's driving me crazy. There's a little trifold tag in each one. And inside the trifold tag on the small journals there are 2 tea cards and some more inspirational words. Not inspirational words, prompt words. I'll call them prompt words. That's probably more accurate. There is one of these, one of the prompt words you might use this for, this envelope. And inside there are 6, I'll show you this one. There are 6 vintage tea cards and they will be all different. Some of them are botanical, some of them are butterflies, some of they range. And this is the one that I really like the most. This is a vintage slide of a kind of mansion house. And this one, for example, is the sitting room. Some of them are outside, so they're outside scenes, but these are beautiful and they would just make the most amazing either piece of artwork or prompt to create a piece of art. And then this was inspired by Laura. I will put Laura's link down below, but Laura's recently done an art journal with me and she created these amazing, you know, where you test all your watercolours and you do your samples. She created this gorgeous little file folder and I've kind of made one to go in these. And I've popped little tags with various types of paper in for you to do your testing and sampling for your different art products. So that is what is in the envelopes for the small kits, not kits, art journals. They're not a kit. These are for inspiration or for using in the journal. I just thought it is an art journal and you start with a blank art journal, so I didn't put the stuff in the journal, if that makes sense. So this is the lilac one, and I've, you know, by the second one I started to make the wrap a bit bigger and there are a longer string of beads. Again, canvas, sewn, little flap of fabric pinned on so you can remove it if you want to. Oh, I forgot to do this on the other one. There's like a second little flap on the inside. But again, same pages, book pages, tracing paper, cartridge paper, 200 GSM photo paper. You know, everything you would need for art journaling. So that is that one. And then again, the same thing. I'm just going to show you the outside of the envelope. The trifold tag, two T cards in there. That's the same inside as the other one, the book page and your prompts, your little journaling cards for your testing, your book pages, 2 postcards. There is the little slide and the 6 T cards in there. These will be going onto my Etsy store, and I am estimating they will be up at about 8 o'clock. That's just an estimate. Oh, that's upside down. So we move on to one of the larger journals. These are not quite A5. I think they're A5, same width. So these are about 8 3/4 by 6 1/4. This is the neutrals. And sorry if you can hear me breathing. I am absolutely so close to the camera now. I've moved my desk. I can't get away from it. So this one has pocket here and pocket here, and it also has a smaller pocket there, which is the flap, and you could absolutely use that for your pencils and things like that. So I'll do a very, very quick flip. Obviously there's the same papers: recycled paper, cartridge paper, sketch paper, the 200 GSM watercolor paper, tracing paper, gorgeous book pages. You know, some of them do have text on one side, but there's a lot of florals. I mean, this one, for example, you could absolutely cover over with your collaging or art. This one, again, you could gesso and use, but that's just so beautiful sketching. So, oh, this one flips out. Tracing paper. And like I said, you know, if you're somebody who doesn't like tea-stained journal pages, and I know I've done a custom order for one without being tea-stained before, so I know there are people out there that like to have plain paper. There is a lot of room in here for journaling, obviously, if that's what you want to do. And, you know, that's that one. So the pouches are very, very slightly different. I'm just going to show you one. They are, you know, the envelope is bigger. It's a cartridge paper envelope, and there's your words in there for prompts. Again, this is the same as the other one, but the sample tags are slightly bigger. I'm sorry if you can hear, my next door neighbour is on her swing. The vintage postcards, the vintage book pages are exactly the same. This is exactly the same, but it's obviously a little bit bigger, and the piece of calico is doubled. And there's your 2 vintage playing cards. I just, you know, I love stuff to go in a journal, an art journal. Oh, this is the one with the butterfly on the back, the original one. I made the other 3 all with the butterfly on the front because my mistake, I actually preferred. More words in the pocket, and these have 2 in each side. So these have 4. They have 4 T cards in. So that is that one. Hang on just 1 second. There are again 6 T cards in your envelope, and another one of the slides. So that is the first larger size. Get that back in there. And then this one is the blues. I love this one. I wish I'd made mine like this, I really do. So little blue fabric with the blue beads. Some of the beads are vintage, some of them are not. Some of the beads are vintage, some of them are not. Again, you've got your 2 big pockets at the front and the back, and a little pocket here, and the same kind of book pages in the journals. So lots of pretty inspirational images that you can use to copy or to use as a prompt for your artwork or writing, if that's what you like to do. And this, again, exactly the same. Same scenario, 4 tea cards and the folder, the vintage papers, the vintage postcards, the envelope with the words in, your sample tags and your tea cards and your slide. So sorry that was rather quick. I hope this video is clear. You know, first time using this camera, and I will absolutely be back with a craft with me very soon, hopefully tomorrow, as long as this camera works okay. Although I might need to go back to my old one because my dad forgot to bring the charger round, so he's not taken mine, you know, with this swap until you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear me talk about my dad's camera. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm a bit flustered. It's so hot here in the UK still, absolutely boiling. I think it's one of the hottest days of the year today. Again, it was hotter than yesterday. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for all your wonderful comments, and I hope you have a fantastic evening. I will see you soon. Bye.